Hello YouTubers and all our clients at Instar Alliance. As promised, I've decided to go ahead and give you a wrap-up on the 2020 presidential election. Of course, there is a Republican election, or shall we say convention, coming up. Who cares, honestly? And like I said before, I am a Republican. I've been a Republican for over 25, 30 years. But like I said, you know, this is the second bad time that this has happened to us, and I'm looking forward to this new leadership. Like I said, it all started with this guy who sent me a photo, and I have at my mantle. I think you might recognize him. There he is, Bush, young Bush. He and his Vice President Cheney went in there with their weapons of mass destruction and found none. And then he had a coalition of countries that wanted to crush Iraq because of their weapons of mass destruction. In the end, he was there for the oil. He's an oil man. He had a whole crew, staff of oil people working for him with Condoleezza Rice, I believe that's her name, and many others. And his goal was to get his hands on their oil, and created ISIS. You know, terrible but factual. Obama tried to talk his way through it, and I will say that Trump did do something about it. I did give him credit on that. Like I said, this is a wrap-up from last week's 5-part section. I do want to apologize that, you know, I got a little bit flustered, because when you go through all that data and you just begin to realize that your country that created the global pandemic, well, you know, it kind of affects you right in the heart. You know, we're living in a global pandemic because Trump pressed China so hard with his win-win-win attitude. You know, Art of the Deal, as it says in his book. There was a article in Art of the Deal that talked about he was trying to get rid of some residents who had grandfathered in at a particular rental rate. He didn't like it. So what he did is he went and got homeless people and then put them in the unoccupied units, trying to scare off the regular residents. It didn't work. They had to do a judge and a court injunction in order to stop him. He doesn't like to lose. Looking at what he's done over the last week, and I watched the Democratic convention, and it was hopeful. Like I said, we need new leadership. So anyway, you know, basically he just decided, you know, that somehow, some kind of way he was going to win. And I guess the IRS didn't feel that way about it, so that's why they shut him down twice, and we can't get any access to his taxes. I'm not an anti-Trump person, not in the least. I like a lot of their values, and I'll always remain a Republican. But the thing is he went too far. He just went too far. He pressed and pressed and pressed and pressed on China, and he was complaining about the unfair trade practices. Well, most of the companies that he's talking about, you know, Apple and some other ones, and all the trade done, it was like American companies working over there. I know he wanted to bring jobs back to the U.S., but if that company is prosperous, working and with a Chinese workforce, leave them alone. I mean, be thankful that they're at least prosperous and they can pay their taxes. Speaking of taxes, over the past week, he's literally choking out the IRS. I guess because they crushed him so badly and bankrupted him twice that I guess he's going after them now. I'm noticing that. I mean, you know, anytime he's trying, they need to collect taxes, payroll taxes, any kind of thing with the word taxes involved. He doesn't even want the tax collection to be done. He wants the country bankrupt. I guess whenever he does, and when he is out of office, that's what he'll leave. That'll be his legacy. His legacy is a global pandemic. Now, I will give him a little bit of credit in January, because he was completely preoccupied, and some of the blood is on her hands, which is Nancy Pelosi. You know, by wasting the government taxpayers' money on a silly impeachment that was not any way possible to win. Did he do tit for tat with Zelensky? Of course he did. But many politicians have before. You know, he's not going to be the first, he's not going to be the last asking for favors. It's kind of like politics. It's normal politics almost if you look at it. But, you know, like I said, did they go too far with that? Yes, because we could have been preparing for this demise that we're in right now. Basically now, at the end of this week after the convention, we're still at a minus 5.6 GDP. What does that mean? It means we're in a deep recession, like the 1932 style. We should come out of it in about 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years because of Trump. If he left those people alone, if we hadn't put him in office, we wouldn't be in a pandemic. They left those international flights open as a reminder that they're China. That's what President Xi did. He had at least 3 or 4, if you watch the 5-part series that I gave, of various other prior viruses. In fact, I might even have the paperwork still here. 3 or 4 different other viruses that they had. I guess I don't have it right in front of me. I wish I did, but I don't. But basically, my point is, along with the first case of SARS, which took them 1.5 years to get rid of, and that was in 2003. Basically, he never, and I doubt if he would have ever have wanted to create this global pandemic, but in his rage as a human being, then he decided to punish Trump by leaving those international flights open. That Trump had created such a negative, hostile global environment from his poor statesmanship that this happened, and now we burn. People don't want to wear a mask here. However, I did mention in my 5-part series that if I took this camera outside, there would be people wearing masks. Yeah, I would be, but it would be like in a store. I guess that was a little bit of an overstatement. I don't see too many people driving away from the houses with their masks on. It is kind of rare, actually, and that's the problem that we're starting. So please wear a mask when you are in close quarters with people. This country is on fire, literally on fire with this virus, and it's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. Listen to Dr. Fauci. I know you don't want to. I know. It's so inconvenient and it messes your hair up. Oh, but the bottom line is people are dying in this country like flies. And they're going to keep dying until we take this virus serious. President Trump doesn't want to take it serious because he made and created the pandemic part of this virus. So the person who created it always is not going to be the person who's going to take it seriously because he doesn't want to accept responsibility for what he's done. Like I said, when I was going over his, good qualities, there were some things that he did. They actually kind of didn't really involve him that much. There were people that are like around him, but there were a few. Like I mentioned back in the thing in regards to the Europe taking advantage of us, they were. And he did make them be more accountable. He did set up a NAFTA trade agreement. He built a portion of his wall, but the problem with a portion of his wall is through his own ignorance, he only managed to get 5 billion versus 20 billion. So that was a complete failure because he only built a portion of it. He could have done a lot more with 20 billion. But he thought he could control the Supreme Court. And I see things are changing for him. So the best thing that we can do as a country, as a nation, is to support, after watching this convention, these new leaders. And like I said, I am a Republican. I will always probably be a Republican. But I'm telling you, he needs to be gone. That's the easiest way to solve all these problems. It'll be the road to recovery. So basically, I feel this probably wraps things up. Back at the office, they were, man, this is a long video you got there for this week. I know. But it's, something that needed to be done. So I hope that you understand the circumstances that we're in now. We won't be coming out of this no time soon. Will we be able to get a relief from a vaccine? I hope so. It keeps mutating. So now I'm wondering if there's more like divine intervention, and I can't even blame China for it. I don't know that yet. Probably in a couple of years from now I'll know that answer, but I don't know that answer now, so I can't relay that to you. But yeah, it is a pullback. It is definitely a pullback to make us realize that we need to change. And, you know, use this time wisely to take a look at yourself and try to reserve in your mind what you need to do better in this virus environment. Like I said, support the new candidates. I think Biden is a little bit battle trained, because he had to deal with the same nonsense after Trump predecessor Bush decided to bring the economy down to its knees when he allowed the Wall Street to just go buck wild and create their derivatives and, you know, crash the stock market. He could have kept an eye on it a little bit better. Will they do that again? Who knows? But like I said, today's things that we'll be talking about, they will be about Wall Street. Or shall I say, next week's. Well, I'm just moving so quickly I can't keep up with myself here. But the following week, we'll be doing that. We'll be going over Wall Street. And I look forward to discussing that with you. Like I said, I knew it would be explosive. After these friends of mine, I used to work as a government contractor many years ago in the Pentagon, and I kept in touch with these people, and they went to China and they found out what was going on there. And like I said, you know, President Xi pulled out his pandemic stick and put us on our knees, and that's where we're at right now. But we can get off our knees. We'll get off our knees when we let Trump go. We'll get off our knees when we accept the fact that this virus isn't going anywhere no time soon. We'll get off our knees when we realize we need to do what these other countries are doing, so that they'll reopen the borders and allow us to come and visit them again. And you know, we'll get off our knees when we realize that we need to change our lives. So that is the wrap up. I promised to wrap up last week, and here it is. So if you have any questions at all, you know how to reach us at InStar Alliance. This is primarily, of course, for our clients. 703-646-3941. That's a 24-hour hotline here in the DC area. And you can call. I decided to do this wrap-up for this week because I felt it was necessary due to the length of the 5-part series. However, the 5-part series is awesome. It gives you all the information. Wasn't catching me at my best, but again, it's there for you. Anyway, you have a nice, safe week, and next week we'll be going over other things dealing with Wall Street. Talk to you later.